I'm going to give you 5 things that good golfers do that help them score better. Great news is you don't even have to change your golf swing. Let's take a look at tip number 1. Before we take a look at those 5 things, guys, I'm Matt Fry, PGA professional. Hit the subscribe button for loads of videos to help you improve your game and enjoy it a little bit more. Let's take a look at tip number 1. So tip number 1 is all about process goals. How are we going to achieve a good score? Because what a lot of good golfers do, or most good golfers do, is they actually have a process that they want to try and achieve to help them achieve their good score, as opposed to what a lot of higher handicappers or bad golfers, as it were, will think more about the score. I want to shoot my best score today, I bet. And that's not how we're actually going to get it done. What we need to do is think about a process that's going to help us achieve that. I'm down here on the 15th hole at Alzor, gorgeous hole, my starting point today. And what I'm going to do is think about, well, what am I going to do out on this golf course today to help me shoot my best score? And for me at the moment, it's more about aiming at the middle of greens and trying to work the ball back to the flag, as opposed to trying to take every flag. You might be different. It might be not hitting a driver on a hole that you always cock up on. But what you need to do is have a goal in mind before you go out, i.e. that is about maybe a strategy as opposed to a score, because you could come onto this hole, a nice little hole, 15th hole here, 105 yards, and you think, well, if I don't birdie it, I don't par it, I can't shoot my best score. And all of a sudden, that round is now over. As where if I think, okay, ignore the flag, middle of the green, I'm going to stick to my process and trust this all day, and that should hopefully help me achieve my best score. And we'll take that, that's straight down the centre. And now I've got a putt. So think about your process, not your score, before you even head out. The second thing all good golfers do isn't walk straight onto a par 40 and think, right, it's driver. Oh no. Please, please. Please be good. Oh dear. And that is the reason why all good golfers don't just walk onto the tee and pull driver, because there's trouble out on every hole. So they take account, they'll have watches, they'll have lasers, they'll have course planners, they'll have past experiences, and they will choose the club that is appropriate for the hole. They'll also try and fit their club to the hole as well. And also the lie of the land might help you. Here on the 16th at Alzor, the fairway shape's a little bit right to left. So if I'm aiming down the left and my ball pitches there, chances are it's probably actually going to run left and go into trouble, as where if I played more up the right, I can use the slope to my advantage. So what a good golfer will do is actually take a club that will help them actually get the ball in play. So here, 288 yards, I'm actually only going to hit a 6-iron because there's a bunker out there at 211 yards. I thought I could maybe get the green with a good one, which would just see me spray it into oblivion. But now a good golfer will swallow their pride a little bit and think, doesn't matter that I'm not hitting driver. What I'm going to do is hit a shot that's going to give me a chance of building the score from there. So 6-iron, I know I can't reach the bunker at 211. This is going to go 200 yards max in this condition. This allows me to make a positive swing straight down the middle. And even not my best work, but you know what? I'm in the fairway and I'm safe, and I've only got a wedge in from there. So you've got to build your scores like that. So the next thing all good golfers do, firstly, they know their yardages with their irons, because we talk about this a lot on this channel, and it's under clubbing. I think the stat from ShotScope is that 80% of golfers under club when going into greens. Now we've got to take into account our strike. Are we over egging how far we think the golf ball's going? And then also conditions. So here, 17th hole, Alzora, it's a par 3. Now the flag for me today is actually sitting at 198 yards. The thing with the green is that it's almost 40 yards from front to back. So that's like 3 to 4 clubs difference. So from getting that ball just onto the green to getting that ball to the back of the green, I could be going from an 8-iron all the way back up to a 4-iron. So it's a massive difference, but I see a lot of people, especially on par 3s, walk on and go, this is the club that I use. As where a good golfer will treat this like the first time they've ever played this shot. So I now know that it's 198 yards. I know the front is 185 yards. So for me, having spent some time, fortunately enough, in my simulator, measuring how far my balls go, and I would recommend you do this, whether it's just with one club, you go down to maybe a top tracer range, go and see a PGA Pro and do something with your yardages. But what we need to do is get a baseline for how our clubs, how far they are going, because now I can say, okay, well, 198 yards to get to that flag. I've got another 20 yards behind it of room to go beyond it. It does look like it's sloping from back to front, so I maybe don't want to do that. I've also got 15 yards from the front of the green up to the flag. I can see that the wind's actually going down and off the left, so that 185 is maybe playing about 175 now. I want to try and land it in there. So for me, I know my 8-iron goes my 7-iron goes 183 yards on a nice strike. So if I do that with the downwind, the heat, that should get me up to the flag and maybe beyond a little bit. What I wouldn't be doing is thinking, well, I once hit a 7-iron or once hit an 8-iron 190 yards, I'll go for that. I think we all over-egg our distances. I'm included in this. Sometimes we get a little bit sort of the best outcome mindset as well. What we've almost got to do is think, okay, well, if I'm only hitting the ball at 70%, how far will this club go? Because that's the likelihood of the strike ratio that we would get. So I'm going to go 7-iron and I'm going to see how far this will go. And one thing to caveat this probably as well, I may be thinking it's 8, but what I am going to do is select that club one up. I'd always maybe go one more and try and give it a little bit more, because you'd be, like I say, probably in that 80% of people who leave it short if you went for the shorter club. So I'm doing what good golfers do. I know how far the ball goes. Let's see if we can get it. And I've caught that a little bit heavy, but there we go, just on the front edge of the green. So allowing myself to have that one more club has just given me that little bit of leeway. If I would have nutted it, I would have been pin high, but because I caught it a little bit heavy, I've given myself some leeway. So make sure, please, 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 you know how far your clubs are going and stop under clubbing. So another thing a good golfer does is assess their chips. What they don't do is what I see a lot of amateurs do, is go straight into the bag and pull the most lofted club and just have one basic shot. So they would go in, take the highest lofted club, which actually gives us the lowest margin of error, because if we don't hit this perfectly, I'm not going to probably have the speed to get it all the way up there. If I don't land it exactly on my landing point, I'm not going to get it all the way back. It's a very hard shot to hit, but it's one that I see a lot of people doing, and we also have a little video about lob wedges on the channel. Make sure you check that one out. But we see that a lot of amateur golfers, oh, I hit that really nice. Oh, I've still got 40 feet to go. What a good golfer will do is arrive at their golf ball, and a bit like I've just said on the iron shot, what we will see from them is that they will treat this shot like they've never played it before. They gather information, they try to understand, okay, well, what do I need to do to hit a good shot? And especially when we're chipping, I think a lot of sort of mid to higher handicappers just go, okay, chip, flag, hit, as opposed to looking at, well, where's the swale of the green? Where's it running? How, if I were just on the putting surface, how would I put this up there? Because if we can get this ball running like a putt, then we can have a little bit more success. So you'll often see good golfers just have a little walk up towards the green, have a look back to where they are. They're getting an idea of how the lie of the land is. We can see here there's a big swale on this green, so I'm probably going to have to play this a little bit right for it to come back towards the flag, as opposed to just standing at my ball and taking the shot. You can see they've got quite a bit of room between me and the flag as well, so I've got quite a bit of room to run this golf ball. There's only a real slight undulation here, so that's the only obstacle I'm really facing. So instead of turning a pretty simple chip into a complex shot, the good golfer tries to dull it down a little bit. Well, what do I need to do just to make this a bit boring? How do I get it rolling? I don't need that fancy shot that needs loads of spin and it's towering high up through the air. So just think to yourself, how can you get the ball rolling like a putt as quickly as possible? I'm going to go up to my middle wedge here, my 52, and all I've got to do is just elevate this shot up over this little bit of a hill here and just get it running. And what this does by doing that, it just gives me a bigger margin for error. You'll only ever really see the fancy shot, the high towering Phil Mickelson-esque flop shot is when it's needed. If we can get this ball on the ground as quickly as possible and running, I've got a higher margin for error and I can actually start to get my up and down ratio a little bit higher. Not a bad one. Not a bad one. I'm pretty confident I could tap that in just by trying to see that boring shot. I got it running like a putt. So just assess your short game and see if you're doing that. Just up the left hand side, keep this driver up the left. Oh no, get down, stay, stay, stay. Might be able to go for it in two. And the fifth and final thing that all good golfers do is that when they make a mistake, they don't compound that error. This hole here, the 18th at Alzor, par 5, I want to go for it in two. I want to build that score. Now, you heard me say keep left off the tee, and that is because if you find the right hand side of the fairway, you are left with this shot. Now, what I would see a lot of people doing here is thinking, well, oh, it's 240. Can I get it up over there quick enough? Or maybe if I could do it. I think I could do it. I know I've hit the poor one there. It was a little bit too cutty. Oh, do you know what? I'll give it a go. I've got a gap here. There's actually a gap. If I can get it launching like a 9-iron with the 5-iron that I need here to bounce up onto the front, that'll work. So what I'll do is I'll hit this 1% shot. It should come off. I think it should. Oh, I knew I shouldn't have done that. And that is where I see so many errors being made out on the golf course. You may not have hit actually that bad of a golf swing, and you might not actually have ruined the hole yet. Now, what I could do, and what all good players do, is go, okay, right, well, let's put the ball back where we were. Let's find the same scenario. It's a par 5. Yes, I wanted to go for it in two, but 220 yards, if I hit, what's going to get up over that bush? Well, I know a pitching wedge is going to get up there comfortably, and that goes 130 yards. That'll leave me 90 yards, which means I can pitch in close, and I can still make a birdie there. Who knows? I might even hole my other shot, and it might be a similar scenario from trees. You might be on a par 4 and you think, I need to make par, I can't make a bogey, oh it's so bad if I do that. But we've just got to take a minute. It's very easy when you get into a scenario where you've hit a poor shot to let your mind race, to let you the round feel as if it's slipping away from you. But that good golfer will stop for a moment, assess what's going on and think, okay, well, how do I build a good score from here? Accept that bogey might be good, double bogey might be good. Realistically, birdie's going to be a fantastic result here, but what I realistically need to look at now is, okay, well, how do I make my par? So my pitching wedge, hit this 130, leave myself 90, and we'll see if we can do it that way. Safely down there with a pretty poor golf swing, and now I can build my golf score. We've got chances. Oh, and that, guys, is how good golfers don't compound errors. I hope that video has helped you. Try one of those tips out next time you're down at the golf course, and hopefully you can start eradicating some mistakes that are ruining your golf game. Guys, thanks for watching. Thanks to Alzor for having us out. Hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you in another lesson very soon.